Hey guys, Trev here from SpineWise, and today I'm joined by Pip from my team because we really want to talk to you about a common issue that we see that's kind of, for some reason we're seeing it more frequently at the moment than any time before. I'm not too sure it's because people have not done yoga for a while, but it's a common reason that we're seeing people developing back pain from yoga, and it's such a simple issue that can be so easily resolved, and it's just a simple technique problem. But we're seeing it more and more. We're not too sure it's because people have had time away from trainers with yoga and been doing things at home on their own or what, but we've been seeing a fair bit of this recently, and I've spoken about this in the past, but I want to actually physically show you the issues. So the pose that I'm talking about is the cobra pose, which is actually really good for back problems, and it's great at kind of increasing blood supply to discs and things like that, so it's said, but it also tends to create a lot of problems with people who don't do it right. So Pip, can I get you to jump onto your tummy for me to start with? Alright, and what I'm going to get Pip to do is I want you to just do the standard cobra pose as people generally do it. Alright, so when we're doing cobra pose like this, or it's often referred to as a cat stretch type thing as well, it's a little bit different but similar type thing, one of the key things we need to look at is where is the extension coming from. So if we look at Pip at the moment, we can see the extension is actually coming from the bottom of her spine here. So we can see her stomach is right off the table, her pelvis is a little bit up, and we're getting the extension in here. Drop down again, Pip. So when we're getting that extension there, excuse me, when we're getting the extension there, the problem that we have with that is that we're actually hyperextending the joints between your pelvis and your lumbar spine, and there's a couple of really key important ligaments in there that regulate movement within that mechanism. And when we get into that hyperextensive type state, we tend to sprain that. Then as you get up and start moving around, it tends to affect the movement between your lumbar spine and your sacrum, as well as the actual sacroiliac joints. And it's one of the most common reasons that we see with people develop chronic functional low back pain. So we're going to do the same thing again, but we're just going to extend a little bit higher up, and we're going to take that out of the equation. So we're going to do the same thing again, but this time what we want to do is we want to keep your belly button, or just about that area, on the bench as you do it. So come up again. We're going to check a little bit lower there, that's it, and we're going to extend from there. So now what we can see is we get extension through the spine and not a point of sharpness. We don't have this pinpoint movement area, we now have this gradual curve going through that lumbar spine. So now we're putting a small stress through all the vertebrae, as opposed to before, go up to like we were before, where we're putting straight and then a hyperextension point, so a very pinpoint bit of stress through the lumbar part of the spine, which is our issue. So go back down again. Okay, this area here, we're putting a gradual curve through the entire lumbar spine, which is what we're after. We don't want to put a pinpoint hyperextension in that area. Okay, that gradual movement is what we are looking for. So this is something to look out for. So the easier things you can do until you master that properly is just to make sure that your belly button is on or as close to the floor or the surface or your mat as possible whilst you go into that extension position, and that'll just stop you from having that pinpoint extension. We want a curve, not a pinpoint extension, and that'll stop you from spraining that ligament, stop you from putting excessive pressure on your lumbar discs, and potentially stop you from doing damage to your spine or injuring yourself along the way. Anyway guys, there's a little tip for you from what we see here in our office on a regular basis. If you have any questions with it, or you want to know any more about it, or little other tips or tricks that you could have to help prevent yourself from getting injured from all kinds of exercise, just post them up, send me a message, always happy to help out. Otherwise, for now, from Pip and myself, we'll catch you in the next vid. Bye for now.